Tonight on CFTK-TV, the city of Terrace prepares for a wildfire plan, how colleges are preparing for a drop in international students, and how a federal election may occur in only 5 weeks' time.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello, I'm Damian Smith, and thank you for joining us here on CFTK-TV. With the summer season approaching, the city of Terrace is currently preparing a new plan to help deal with the heat. Terrace announced that they are working on creating what they called a community wildfire resiliency plan, which is set to be an evolved version of their original protection plan. This updated version of the plan is set to include recommendations with a few different suggested priority levels. Some of the listed new goals of the plan are increasing community awareness of wildfire risk, creating realistic and accountable mitigation actions, as well as strengthening collaborations with other nearby fire-based agencies. And another weekly report from the Terrace RCMP has been released, including a pair of fires, along with 3 reports of impaired driving. As for the fires, there was one reported this past Saturday at around 4 a.m. where the RCMP discovered one vehicle and garage structure that were in flames. The other fire occurred this past morning as a structure fire on Sleeping Beauty Lane. The impaired driving cases saw a man and woman have a number of loose liquor cans along with an open bottle of liquor, a man who drove at 135 kilometers per hour in a 70-kilometer zone, as well as an impaired driver on a dirt bike who failed the breathalyzer test and became violent with the police officers. Now moving on to federal news, Canadians may have to head to the polls sooner than they think, as expected that Prime Minister Carney will be calling a snap election at a minimum of 5 weeks from now. Here's Rachel Aiello of CTV in the nation's capital.
And we're going to win. We're going to win, baby.
Getting set to face off in a federal election, Mark Carney is sounding confident. But the players he's about to go up against won't go as easy on him as the Edmonton Oilers did on the ice. Multiple sources confirmed to CTV News that the Prime Minister will be asking the Governor-General to dissolve Parliament and trigger a snap election on Sunday, sending Canadians to the polls on either April 28th or May 5th. The Prime Minister stopped short of confirming his plans, but outlined his rationale for why he wants voters to have their say.
In this time of crisis is that the government needs a strong and clear mandate.
Thank you very much, everyone.
The Conservatives are already well into campaign mode, making policy announcements and sharpening their message at events all week.
We need to put Canada first. It's time to bring home our jobs, energy, and economic sovereignty.
The NDP are starting this race in 3rd place and will be trying to offer voters an alternative.
Who's going to prioritize working families over billionaires? That answer is very simple.
Calling an election this weekend means Carney will avoid recalling Parliament, where he was set to face a confidence vote within days. But it also means rule changes the government wanted to implement to make it easier to vote and harder to meddle won't be in place. With polls showing a tightening battle between the top 2 parties, pollsters are predicting a volatile campaign.
Right now, people are really plugged into what's going on because of tariffs and Trump and all of that. So I think there's a real potential that things could move a lot more wildly this campaign.
There will be more seats up for grabs in this election than ever before. 343 to be exact. And with just days left to decide, we still don't know which riding the Prime Minister will be running in.
And Hudson's Bay, which is the oldest company in Canadian history, is set to be liquidating all but 6 of their stores across the country starting on Monday. And unfortunately for those who shop at locations in British Columbia as well as the Prairies, the remaining locations will all be available in Ontario and Quebec only. Sean Leethong has the rest of the story over in Toronto.
A Canadian icon, the oldest company in North America, Hudson's Bay will be reduced to just 6 stores.
In my opinion, I think it's a terrible day. It's a terrible day for the Bay, a terrible day for the employees. We're getting calls that they're very upset and distressed about their futures. I think it's a bad day for Canada, frankly.
In Ontario Superior Court this afternoon, Judge Peter Osborne giving the order that the Bay can start liquidating 87 stores on Monday. Only 6 stores will remain open, 2 in Toronto, including the flagship at Yonge and Queen Streets, 1 in Richmond Hill, along with locations in downtown Montreal, Laval, and Pointe-Claire, Quebec. Justice Osborne saying, "This is the art of the possible, and we are where we are today," adding, there is no alternative than to approve the liquidation today to maximize success. HBC filed for creditor protection on March 7th and had been seeking the court's approval to start liquidation. Lawyers representing stakeholders had been working with those representing HBC on an agreement to move forward with liquidation. Word of a possible liquidation has sent shoppers flocking to Bay stores, leaving many shelves empty. Lawyers today saying that temporary boost in sales is what has allowed HBC to protect 6 stores for now.
I don't want to sound too pessimistic, but we didn't hear encouraging comments from company counsel. There's no plan for those stores. They have a very short time window.
Andrew Hatney represents the 9,400 HBC employees and retirees. He expects mass layoffs without a financial safety net to come with liquidation.
We've heard currently that HBC will not be providing severance.
Liquidation will take place at 74 Bay stores along with 3 Saks Fifth Avenue and 10 Saks off 5th stores, meaning not only will all items be sold, once they are bare, the shelves will go too. Along with liquidation, the judge also approved a process where HBC can sell any leases they're currently holding. Also, they approved a process for selling the company if a bidder comes along. Liquidation will be complete by June 15th.
And as Canada and the United States dispute over politics, there's nothing like a physical landmark that happens to be split down the border. In years past, a certain Quebec library has been a positive, unique meeting ground, but as CTV's Kelly Gregg puts it, residents on both sides are now in an uncomfortable position.
It's nothing more than tape on the ground, but this line representing the Canada-U.S. border is at the center of an international dispute.
It's very emotional. I never thought, there's a lot of things these days that we never thought we would see. That's one of them.
The site is about 150 kilometers southeast of Montreal. On one side is Derby Line, Vermont, the other, Stansted, Quebec, and in the middle sits the library. To get in the front entrance, Canadians need to walk into the U.S. Starting Monday, that will be restricted to only those with library cards, and as of October, not at all, drawing ire from both sides of the border, including from American Chris Bless and Canadian Pauline Lucier.
This is our life. Today, we walk in and we're friends.
We never thought about it.
No.
Who are you from U.S.? No, never.
And despite increases in tensions over the border, residents denounce the move.
Canada has been a staunch ally of the United States for many years. They do not deserve to be treated this way. They do not deserve the tariffs. They do not deserve to be dismissed.
I'm upset. I've been coming to this library for almost 70 years.
The library was built in 1904 and it's listed as a heritage site in both Canada and the U.S. Its official address is in the United States, but the majority of the building is in Canada. And in the time I've taken to tell you that, I've actually been in both countries. The back entrance will have to be renovated to allow Canadians to enter. U.S. Customs and Border Protection told CTV News this area has witnessed a continued rise in illicit cross-border activity. In keeping with the CBP's goal of 100% border security, the following phased approach will be enacted to ensure that all persons entering the United States are admissible.
I was disappointed that we had to get to this point in our relationship. We thought we had solved some of the issues, the concerns that the Border Patrol had, but apparently not.
Two towns now coming together over a library divided by politics. Kelly Gregg, CTV News, Stansted.
Coming up next, how colleges are preparing for a decrease in international student enrollment. Welcome back to CFTK-TV. Well, down in Vancouver, colleges who rely heavily on the prospect of international student population are now figuring out ways to move forward with the federal government decreasing the amount of immigrants to the country in the next couple of years. CTV's Martin McMahon has more.
I think year over year, we're looking at a 26% drop in enrollments.
Vancouver's Langara College faces major disruption. Student enrollment plummeting after the feds reduced international student permits by roughly 300,000 over the next 3 years.
We do have a significant loss of revenue as a result of loss of students, which is mostly as a result of changes in federal policy.
Langara's bylaws mean the school can't run a deficit, so it unfortunately has to make cuts to temporary positions. While it hasn't said how many jobs have been lost, the Faculty Association says the total number tops 200.
So I want them to recognize the actual numbers and not pretend that it's only a few people.
But the school wouldn't provide immediate numbers on how many faculty have been affected, to the frustration of some at Thursday's meeting.
If your HR department isn't able to tell you how many faculty have been lost, I think you seriously need to look at your HR department.
Langara Voice journalist Sage Smith broke the story outlining the scale of the cuts.
I think that students right now are mostly confused. They don't actually understand what's going on. They do hear that movements and layoffs are happening, but there's a lack of clarity in what that will actually mean for them.
With the federal election looming, the school is pushing with other post-secondary institutions for a change in approach.
We are lobbying provincial and federal government to, on behalf of all of us, to understand the impact that the rapidness of their policy changes has had on us.
For now, the school, as well as its students and staff, wait to see if these cuts are the end or just the beginning of further pain to come. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
And now we move on to the local weather forecast for tonight and for the week ahead. Tonight in Prince Rupert should see cloudy conditions with a 60% chance of showers along with a low of +4. And for this week on the north coast, expect increasing temperatures along the way, going back and forth between showers, rain, clouds, and then rain again on Tuesday. The high will be 11 degrees on Wednesday, which is subject to change, while the low will be 3 degrees on Monday night. Tonight in Terrace and Kitimat, it will be mainly cloudy with a 70% chance of showers along with a low of +1. Terrace and Kitimat will be a bit cooler for the next few days, but then a little jump on Monday to 9 degrees, but expect rainier conditions throughout the week. The high will also be 11 degrees on Wednesday, while the low will be 1 degree on Sunday and Monday night. And tonight in the Bulkley Valley, it should see a few clouds with lighter winds at 15 kilometers per hour, along with a low of -7 and a wind chill of -10 overnight. For this week's forecast, expect some sun tomorrow, a chance of snow on Sunday, and then cloudy conditions starting sometime next week. The high will also be on Wednesday at 10 degrees this time, with the low being 0 degrees on Sunday evening. And now we take a look at your roadside report from around the Northwest. For additional updates, check out drybc.ca. Highway 16 has utility work west of Skeena, construction work north of Usk, utility work in Endako and slippery sections. Highway 37 has roadside brushing north of Lake Hells Lake, slippery sections from Kitimat to Belle 2, frost heaves and compact snow from Belle 2 to the Yukon border. Highway 37A has slippery sections, the Nishka Highway has fog patches, and Telegraph Creek Road has muddy sections and slippery sections throughout. And these are what the cameras were looking like from around the Northwest. Still to come, how tariffs will affect those that work in farming and the breweries. Hello again. Well, it's an unfortunate time to be a farmer in the canola industry, especially with the next month or so being a critical stage for farming preparation. Allison Bamford has more over in Saskatchewan.
Farmers are frustrated that the price of their hard work is dropping.
It's like getting two kicks in the backside.
First, the 25% U.S. tariffs were announced. Now China's tit-for-tat 100% tariffs on canola oil, canola meal, and peas are in effect. The uncertainty has pushed canola prices down about $2 a bushel.
Nobody's going to get out of this scot-free.
Clinton Monchuk's a fourth-generation farmer. He stands to lose $100,000 on his canola crops this year.
And then when you add in all the other commodities, that are taking a hit on the prices. We're pretty close to $250,000.
The tariffs come just weeks before seeding, a time when farmers invest thousands of dollars per acre into seed, fertilizer, fuel, and equipment just to get their crops in the ground.
The Chinese have deliberately timed this to have a maximum impact on Canadian agriculture.
In Regina, producers have met all week at Canada's Farm Show. The two-front trade war is top of mind.
If we don't have a market for a crop, it's going to stay in a bin, and that is going to affect the farmer's cash flow, right? And that's going to cause farmers not being able to pay for those bills, those input costs.
Ottawa says it will support farmers, but producers are still waiting to hear any concrete measures that will help. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
And breweries in British Columbia may have local resources around the country to stay in business, but one location down on the island says that they will eventually struggle without a particular American product very soon. Anna McMillan of CTV has more.
So these are two of our flagship beers that use those American hops.
An import that could soon be slapped with a tariff.
Combined with the aluminum, it could already sink a rocky industry.
On top of the tariffs Canada has already imposed on the states, the Canadian government is considering taxing many other U.S. imports, including hops.
Unfortunately for a lot of the small producers, a lot of the craft beer is made with American hops that we can't get anywhere else.
They're known as proprietary hops, which are essentially patented and have a fruity flavor common in hazy IPAs.
As a result, we can't pivot to using different Canadian hops or European hops to get out from under the tariff. We are just going to face another major increase in cost. So these are Citra hops.
The owner of Small Gods Brewing in Sydney says this would hurt more than the aluminum tariffs, increasing the cost of cans.
It's not like hops, which are literally in all of the beer made in this province.
The federal government says if the U.S. does not remove the tariffs applied to Canadian goods, it intends to impose a tariff of 25% on an additional $125 billion worth of goods from the U.S. The government is seeking public input on the products being considered.
We will definitely be sharing our concerns.
BC's Craft Brewing Guild says if a tariff is imposed, most brewers won't feel the effects for a while.
Canada's largest hop supplier, importer of hops, is a BC owned and operated company, family run company, and they have been stockpiling hops.
That supplier is Hops Connect Canada, which provides the essential ingredient to more than 200 BC brewers, including Small Gods.
If the tariffs go on longer on hops, let's say past 6 months, our prediction is that we will be out of American supply and we will have to bring in new supply. And those would obviously have to be tariffed.
He hopes it won't come to that if the federal government heeds concerns from brewers like Small Gods. Anna McMillan, CTV News, Sydney.
And now we take a look at the stock market, where we have some small changes to track today. The Canadian dollar remains the same as yesterday. The price of gold is down to $22.40. Oil is up 21 cents, and natural gas and aluminum have remained the same. In Toronto, the TSX is down about 92 points. The Venture Index is down about 3. In New York, NASDAQ is up at 92, and the Dow Jones is up 32. Still ahead, what Canada may do for the future of Canadian fighter jets. Welcome back to our final segment. Like many sectors in Canada have been affected by the trade war, the future of Canadian fighter jets remain uncertain as key parts are typically imported from the United States. Adrian Gabriel of CTV has a story.
Canada's next generation fighter jet suspended in limbo.
It's prudent and in the interest of Canada to review those options.
The options include scrapping plans to purchase a total of 88 F-35 fighter jets from U.S.-based Lockheed Martin. Ottawa has already paid for 16 of the supersonic jets, though the remainder of the order is now under review, as Canada and other allies ponder if they can count on America for replacement parts and system upgrades integral to the long-term viability of the sky-high stealth fighters.
What really makes it an effective military platform is all of the software and the networking that really connects it. That software all comes from the United States.
Ottawa may have little choice but to proceed with the F-35. The Air Force's CF-18s are near the end of their life expectancy.
They are barely capable in a fighter force that is no longer tactically viable or survivable in modern warfare.
Retired Royal Canadian Air Force Lieutenant Billy Flynn was a test pilot for the F-35.
What is the best kit that we need today and moving to the next generation? And in the case of fighters, there's only one option, it's the F-35.
The debate comes as Canada and Europe enter defense partnership negotiations, though even our Navy's soon-to-be made-in-Canada River-class destroyers have current plans that rely on U.S. combat systems.
And we are, like it or not, interlinked with a brother down south that we no longer get along with.
As for defense partnership negotiations between Canada and Europe, the Canadian military's ability to step up and help a European country should it come under attack may be questioned. Presently, Canada's naval and air force capabilities are limited. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
And a class down on the island has come up with their own way to spread kindness to those in the Victoria community. Here's Adam Swatsky, who has our final story of the day.
It all began with the arrival of this box at the beginning of the school year, which included, Piper Robertson says, an unexpected invitation.
We just sort of go on a bunch of missions.
But before that, Oliver Borziak says the students in his grade 3-4 class at Millstream Elementary had to make a pledge.
That we will never do anything mean.
And always, Quinn Gardner says, do everything you can to be kind.
Be kind before everything.
After everyone enthusiastically agreed, they donned the headbands in the box, and their teacher, Jenny Belanger-Borziak, encouraged them to begin brainstorming kindness missions.
When you make it theirs and it comes from their heart, they really leave with so much more than just a lesson. The feeling stays with them so much longer.
The ninjas started small, making bracelets to give as random gifts to brighten people's days, volunteering to tidy up the school grounds, and creating cards they'd hide in other classrooms to show their appreciation for others.
And then they were like, Madame, we want to go outside of this school.
So the Kindness Ninjas started making Valentines to deliver to veterans and constructed crafts as fundraisers so they could hire a bus to travel to a long-term care facility and entertain the elderly around the holidays.
The red-nosed reindeer. We sang songs and told jokes. I just really like seeing the smiles on their faces.
The Kindness Ninjas felt so energized by the experience, they decided to focus their next big mission on helping the unhoused and pledged to raise $10 each for a total of $210.
You like being nice to people and stuff.
Nolan Kerr single-handedly surpassed their goal by donating all the money he got for his birthday, $250. Others went above and beyond, too.
We ended up raising $3,671.
Then, all the Kindness Ninjas gathered on a weekend to participate in a 5K walkathon.
We were tired, we were cold, we were hungry, but we didn't give up.
And as they grow up, these kids say they'll never stop cultivating kindness in their community, because as Piper explores in her book, being a Kindness Ninja just feels so good.
It's like a wave. If you be kind to someone, they will be kind to someone else, and then that could lead to a better world.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Langford.
And that will be all for the cast tonight. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great weekend.